Hi, hysteroscopy at age 75. Now, what am I talking about? I am doing this video on my YouTube channel page, Older INFP-A Insights, because I do not want to start a new YouTube channel just for one video, but I think it's interesting that I need to put out a PSA and let people know because there's really nothing that I can find on YouTube or in the literature about having this procedure, or I never even heard of this procedure now, which is what is my journey and that I'm just now recently going through. I will have this video in three parts. And the third part will be in the details. So if you just want to hear the first two parts of information I like to give for tips for the general population, you can watch that. And if you don't want to watch the more medical end of it, which would be general because I'm a lay person, then you can kind of click off. So generally speaking, a hysteroscopy is like a colonoscopy, just to put it in everyday terms. Most people know that colonoscopies go in and they look for polyps and other things, but mainly polyps. And then the polyps are removed, and it's used in the States as a prevention. It's not used in other countries that way, but only if there's a problem. But in the United States, where I am, it does, that's what happens. Well, here his hysteroscopy does the same thing in the uterus. Um, so that's part of the female reproductive system. Now I'm 75. I am long over all of that. So two things I want to say. One is I want to say that if you have any female reproductive organs, parts, regardless of, I mean, there's all kinds of identity out there today. I understand that. Keep it simple. If you have it, if you don't have a gynecologist, get one. You may need one. These things pop up at any certain time of your life. Um, and it's good to have one on handy. If you have one and you're a lot younger, um, keep one. When I went through menopause, my doctors told me I do have history of fibroids, and the doctor said, "Oh, after menopause, you won't be producing estrogen. Um, the fibroids will shrink. You have no problems. Just make it to menopause, and you're home free." I'm 75. I'm having a hysteroscopy. I have fibroids and I have a polyp. The polyp is the size of an egg, I will say. It's not small. And it is bleeding. It's just like in the colon, but it's in the uterus. It has to come out, which I find is kind of interesting. It can be cancerous and it cannot be, or not cancerous. So yes, that's what I want to say to all the people out there who don't think that they need a gynecologist. If you are female in any shape, form, or fashion, get one and then keep one the rest of your life. Because I have had, if it wasn't for the fact that my daughter works for one, I would not have had one because they don't want to see you once you have a major problem. You have to be established ahead of time, at least where I live, and I live in a very high quality, world class area of the United States. Major research. I live in the Triangle in North Carolina, where there's North Carolina State University, University of North Carolina, and Duke University. I know just about everybody in the world has heard of those three, plus about a dozen other great colleges and universities. A lot of people want to live here from around the world, one of the most popular places. That's the problem. Can't find anybody who wants to take you with the problem. So I would have been SOL if my daughter did not work for a gynecologist, but fortunately that's then I wound up in the emergency room. So get one, keep one. You never know. Number two is be for a support system. Against being older on a daily basis. We are dismissed on a daily basis. Whatever decisions that we make, it's our health, it's our body, it's not about you. So if you want to help, offer to help. And if we say no, thank you, but no, accept that. That's our decision. That's the only thing I want to say. Now, because it doesn't it does not ease our stress. It makes it worse. It's not about you. And it might not be the best decision in the world, but it's our decision, and we have a right to live with dignity. And at the end of the life period, we have a right for that in dignity. Okay, so I said all that. That's for everybody. Just please be kind. Please be kind. Please be understanding. My beef with my daughter is she wants to come. I want my neighbor to take me. My neighbor's already here. I live in senior apartments. I want her to take me to I'm having surgery March the 11th. And I spoke with my gynecologist 2 days ago. And we went through my ultrasound that I had the ER and all like that. So we were on the same wavelength of what we want to do, which is not what my daughter wants me to do. She wants me to have a full hysterectomy and not have to worry about it. It's not her. It's my body and my life. So she's arguing with me about coming to get me because she wants to be in the room. She wants to be able to know. So please be kind. If you can't be kind, please back away. So that's all I have to say about that. But I'm doing fine. So here we get into the hysteroscopy, which I'm finding to be very interesting. I have interest. One of my hobbies. I have a nerdy side. One of my hobbies has always been medicine, and particularly obstetrics and gynecology. And I did work in healthcare in mental health care, in healthcare settings for over 20 years. Picked up a lot of this. I watched a lot of videos by doctors about the polyps and this, that, and the other. So how did I get to where I am now? I had a history way back and almost died back when I was in perimenopause because I hemorrhaged and had to go emergency to the emergency room. Had I not been working in the health department at that time with medical doctors and nurses around, I don't think I would be here. But they saved my life. They rushed me to the hospital, had 3 blood transfusions, and had a DNC, and that got settled. And it happened again a few years later, not that drastic, but I've lost an ovary. I had a tumor, a grapefruit-sized tumor on an ovary. That all came back benign, all came back fine. Both those doctors were in different cities. Both those doctors told me, wait till you get to menopause, you won't have to worry about any of that. Well, I did, made it through. And all the videos on YouTube, usually when they talk about older people having polyps or needed hysterectomies or I forgot the word, hysteroscopy, this procedure, they only go up to like age 55. That's the old age, but 55. There's one lady I found who's having a hysterectomy at age 60. She could not find anything, so she started to make her video. I got the idea from her. I'm 75. Thank you. I can't remember her name, but thank you for putting out your video about being 60. I'm 75. Now, under 5% of people at postmenopause will have a polyp, a fibroid polyps, under 5%, and it increases the older you get. The older you get, your chances increase, and the older you get, the percentage decreases. So I know I'm special. I'm trying to be a positive attitude. I'm in a better shape than I was with the other video I made for my channel when I got back from the ER, and they're talking about cancer and they're talking about all the bad things. It's not as bad. I'm just taking it one day at a time. It's getting interesting now. I know I'm special But this is not where I want to be in the 1% class. I don't know what percentage of women, 75 or over 70, have this. If you are and you see this, let me know. I would like to know. Um, so what causes, and what happens is with the hysteroscopy, I can't say that. They go in just like the colonoscopy. It's a little camera. It looks kind of neat. So the camera goes in and kind of opens you up, and look around, and they take a little thing and they take it out. And they're going to biopsy it. So that's what I wanted to have done after watching the videos. I didn't say anything, but when I went into the doctor's office for the biopsy Monday, she said there's no reason to do a biopsy because we need to do she didn't say hysteroscopy, but I looked it up and that's what the word is. She said you need to have surgery and we need to do more, something a little bit more than what I can do here in the office. I have to go into the hospital. This outpatient, but the interesting thing about it is the other two times I have had a DNC, I don't wake up from the anesthesia. It's the anesthesia that's the hard part. Um, the procedure is fine, the anesthesia is the hard part, and I've had to spend the night. So I have no idea when I'm coming home, but I feel like if I can live through the anesthesia, I'll be fine. And it's a simple procedure. It doesn't take long. It's minimally invasive, simple procedure, and usually that fixes the problem. And we're going to take the polyp, which is it's normal to have fibroids. I just have one. It's not normal to have a polyp. I find that out. I didn't even know could have polyps there until this weekend when I was looking at YouTube channels. Did not even know it. Mine is egg size. It's been there for a while. I look pregnant. It's kind of interesting to see the ultrasound. I look pregnant. It is bleeding. And that's how I knew that something was wrong. It is bleeding. You can't just live the rest of your life that way. So, yeah, so that's all they do. And I'm just going to go, like I said, to pathology and we'll see. That can be cancerous. Fibroids usually are not. And I've never had a polyp before. So we'll see. And as I've learned today, that the older you get, the greater your chances for polyps are. And I guess I could consider myself lucky. And the average age now for lifespan now for people in the United States is I think 76 and I'm 75. So maybe a lot of people, a lot of women haven't made it to my age and they don't have a lot of research. So they need to do more research about that. So that's what I'm going to have done. Now, what causes, now we'll say there's no diagnostic test for that generally, which I think there should be. And I think if more people had it or men had it, quite frankly, that's just the way the world works. Um, we scientists would have developed something. We're pushing, and I'm glad we are pushing prostate exams for men because more men are getting prostate cancer. I'm glad that's being pushed. I don't hear anything about polyps, uterine polyps. I don't hear anything about that. We need to have a diagnostic test for that and screen particularly for high risk individuals. And I consider myself a high risk individual. And I had actually asked my daughter who works for the GYN, and she's very good at what she does. She's been a labor and delivery nurse for over 20 years and now she's an office manager. I asked her 2 years ago, I said, shouldn't I have a gynecologist with my history? Because what if something happens? And she laughed and she said, no, there's nothing there. You don't need to, not unless there's a problem. Well, I found out that I did, and as I mentioned, the problem was trying to find a doctor. When you have an emergency, they don't want to see you, not where I live. So yeah, I should have kept one all this time. You don't get pap smears after a certain age, but I think a pelvic exam at least is warranted. But around here, they said don't worry about it. Okay, so there's no diagnostic test. Generally speaking, like with the annual physical, what I have for the diagnostic test is a transvaginal ultrasound. And that's what they take pictures of everything, your cervix, your ovaries, your uterus, and they drive a thing around. That hurt. I found out I'm not in shape as I was 30 years ago, and just getting prepping for it was, I said, I can't get in that position anymore. So I think if somebody got into geriatric gynecology, particularly where I live, they'd make $1 million because, be gentle with me because I was sick all day the next day with a fever and pain and cramps. Be gentle. You can't, we're old. But that's how you find that's one diagnostic test, one of the best diagnostic tests, and got over a 90% success rate of finding what they need to find. And it's very simple. Does hurt if you're old, but that's where they found it. And so that's they do that only if you have a problem in this country, I believe, only if you have a problem. So so yeah. So they diagnose that, and you can get a biopsy done. But in my case, with the doctor, when I went in, she said, like, with your history and the size of this, and I've looked at the ultrasound, we just need to go in and do the whole surgery, and take the whole. I told her, I said, the bleeding has to stop, and I want that thing gone. That thing, as in the polyp. I find it's a polyp. I want it gone. It's got to come out. I want it totally out, and because that's what's bleeding. I want it totally out. And she said, yeah, we'll biopsy then. There's no point in doing a biopsy now, and then I'm going to send you to surgery anyway. So that's where we are. And so I think some other things, if you have any questions, put them down below. I'll be glad to answer them. And it does happen. I was going to say, oh, I asked her the question. I'm like, and I learned that these growths in your uterus feed off estrogen. And you're not supposed to have estrogen after menopause. And I'm like, where is that happening? How is this happening? And where is it happening? Couldn't find anything on YouTube about it. And she said, well, yeah, she said, that's true to a point, that everybody, the women, we produce estrogen. We produce estrogen, a little bit of it. It doesn't all totally go away. And it comes from the ovaries, but only have one, so that's it. There are some risk factors, which I don't have any of them. Things like obesity is the number one, I believe. Obesity, and then there's one medication I read about today that I can't pronounce it, don't remember it. I don't know what it's for. I've never taken it. And then there are a couple of other things that don't apply to me. I did read something online that had like stress, like a divorce or death in the family, can cause that. I don't know if they really know. I did 3 years ago lose my kid's dad. He died. I had a crash, a nervous system crash. Been working very hard for 3 years to um, heal my nervous system. That maybe could have caused it. I don't know. I don't have a high risk um, of anything, risk factors for getting it that they have mentioned. And I don't think they really know that much about it, to tell you the truth, and have researched it. I had COVID. I looked to see if there was a correlation between this and COVID, and there's not, but I don't think they've really looked into it. I don't know. Um, all that could play into it. I did find out something interesting, that the polyp is full of inflammation. That has to do with COVID, and I have long COVID, and long COVID is an inflammatory condition. So I found that to be interesting. I'm connecting my own dots. So if you ever had long COVID and have polyps, let me know. It doesn't come up in the literature, doesn't come up on YouTube. And by YouTube, I'm not talking about just people talking. I'm talking about, I look at medical classes, I look at doctors, and I actually look, if I can find a medical class, I will look at that, the very technology, and I look at all the um, live videos of surgeries. I just love doing that, and that's what I've been doing my own research. So I have too much estrogen. That's what the doctor says. The polyp came because, and the fibroid, but the polyp particular is what was concerning because that may be cancerous. I have too much estrogen. I'm still producing estrogen. Why, how, when, where, I don't know. But that is it. It is highly treatable. Success rate for this hysteroscopy is high success rate. Uh, the polyps could return if the treatment she was talking about hormone replacement therapy. I'm really not interested in that because I tried that one time that didn't work for me. Um, but anyway, we're just taking one step at a time. So I'm kind of changed my tune a little bit. It's not a death sentence. It's very highly treatable. It's minimally invasive to do. If you have polyps, you won't know you have a polyp. You could know. There could be symptoms. It's common to be asymptomatic. I was asymptomatic until I wasn't, which means I felt better than I have felt in years the last couple of weeks, and then all of a sudden I had this breakout bleeding, quite frankly, I'll tell you that. And that came to be almost an emergency. So it goes from you're doing well to you're not doing really well. So that part's kind of dangerous and has to be treated. I encourage everybody to go through the treatment. It's not going to be scary. Some doctors can do it in the office. Mine cannot. I don't know of anybody here that where I've never seen that. We have so many hospitals here that they tend to want to go to the hospital because I feel like it's very expensive to have all the setup in your office. And so yeah, I'm going to a hospital where I used to, the hospital where it's going to be is going to be where I used to work. So I feel very comfortable there. It's where my two of my daughters used to work. It's a major trauma center. Something goes wrong, I'm in the right place. They have a helipad, they can helicopter flight, they have life flights. I'm being a little bit silly on that part, but I mean, I'm in a good place. I'm going to be calm. I've been there before working. I've been there before as a patient. So I don't have anything that is going to hinder me for that. So that's where we are. It does happen to you at all stages. It is rare the older you get. It is a common thing, but it's the percentage of it actually happening. As I said, the older you get, post-menopause, the higher your risk factor for a polyp. But they don't go up to age 75 when they say that. They usually stop around 55 and maybe to 60. But the older you get, the older you get, the smaller percentage of people it affects. As I said, I'm special. I don't know what the percentage is for somebody 75. They don't go that high. It's probably less than 1%, actually, is what I would guess, but I don't know. So that's it. And like I said, if you have any questions, I hope you enjoyed some of this, and some of this was educational. I'm putting this out there in the ethers in the universe for anybody who it may apply to, or you know someone it may apply to watch it, that you're not alone. I think there are thousands of us out there, but we are made to feel like we're alone because it's not talked about. It needs to be talked about. There needs to be geriatric gynecology specialty. Um, okay, so that's it. I hope you enjoyed it, and put your comments below. And everybody wants you to stay safe.